As he looks at these photos of his late daughter, Richard Corley can't help from choking up. 18-year-old Ariel Brooke Corley was killed 7 months ago in a fiery car crash.
The car burst into flames. She was burned beyond where I could view her body.
Months after the crash, Corley remains overwhelmed, just thinking about the loss of Ariel, his youngest daughter.
It's been a struggle. We'll remember her as the sunshine of our life. She never forgot to tell us she loved us.
But Corley says that even more disturbing than the death of his daughter is that he believes he could have seen her one more time if it weren't for an equipment failure.
I need a fire extinguisher. We got a young lady that's trapped. The officer had tried to use this fire extinguisher, and it was just dead.
The night of the crash, Tom Netherland was first on the scene. He saw the car in flames as he was driving by in his 18-wheeler. He stopped, then pulled the driver and a female passenger out of the car, but Ariel was still trapped in the back. So Netherland took his truck's fire extinguisher and tried desperately to put out the fire. Midland police arrived next. By then, Netherland's extinguisher was all out, but the fire wasn't.
I had ran to that officer and had grabbed a fire extinguisher and had come back, and that fire extinguisher was also dead.
The flames kept raging until the fire department arrived minutes later, too late to reach 18-year-old Ariel Corley. When the sun came up, some revealing evidence was also brought to light. 2 fire extinguisher tags were found among the charred remains, both belonging to extinguishers that hadn't been inspected for years. One was last checked in 2008, the other in 2005. The back of the tags read COM, or City of Midland. But how could 2 city fire extinguishers go uninspected? They have to be inspected by law, or so we thought. So we called the city to ask how this could happen and were referred to Medessa Fire Extinguishers, the company hired to inspect Midland's equipment.
They have to be done once a year. And we go out once a year to all the different city departments and check all the fire extinguishers.
But if all fire extinguishers have to be checked, how did these 2 end up not working?
Vehicles are kind of funny. No matter how hard we try, we cannot catch 100% of the trucks or 100% of the, that's just the nature of the beast. Thing where we might have missed one for a couple of years and catch the following year. You just never know.
So if vehicle fire extinguishers are not kept up to date, someone must have the authority to regulate inspection. Otherwise, you might be at risk every time you drive. We began to work the phones, calling county officials and asking whether they regulate the city's extinguishers, only to find out they do not. Next, we checked with TxDOT, OSHA, the National Fire Protection Association, and the State Fire Marshal's Office. This is one of the fire extinguishers found right here inside our own television studios, required to be inspected once per year by law, and just checked off on this tag. But simply step outside the building, put the same fire extinguisher inside a vehicle, and suddenly, zero legal mandate for inspection. Which brings our investigation back to James Hahn.
When we go around and do our yearly, we catch any problems, like maybe the extinguisher has developed a leak and it's not full of pressure.
Hahn, a retired 20-year veteran of the Midland Fire Department, acknowledges that without inspection, things can go wrong. But he continues to admit their inspection record is far from perfect.
And there's also a possibility that we might miss one every single year.
We approached police and the city about the faulty fire extinguishers right after the incident. At the time, they told us they looked into it, but that no malfunction was reported by the officers, and no difficulties are listed here on this police accident report.
I have no reason to make no kind of a false statement on this. I have nothing against the city. I have nothing against the city police department. So now I'm just telling you exactly what I seen. I did see a lady in trouble. Fire was the biggest part of the trouble, and 2 police officers with fire extinguishers that were not working. A very traumatic, most traumatic thing I've ever had in my life. Something I will never, I'll remember for the rest of my life. I hope I never see it again.
And the evidence suggests that Netherland's right. For Ariel's father, that's unthinkable.
I didn't get to say goodbye to her body. And that, that's something I think about, not every day, but a lot. And it bothers me because I didn't get to have a farewell to touch her and say goodbye. And I don't know, even at that point, if she couldn't have been revived and brought back to life if the fire had been put out.
Months later, Corley and Netherland are still left wondering Why no one regulates these fire extinguishers. Because when even one falls through the cracks, your life could be at risk.
That's something that I dwell on and think about. And it causes great concern for me. They had non-working fire extinguishers, and that one was expired for at least 3 to 4 years. You know, step up and say, hey, we're going to fix it today.